Nonviolence and Reconciliation. The guest is Dr. Bernard Lafayette of American Baptist College. And of course, Dr. Lafayette, before we had our break, we were talking about the characterizations of love and hate. And let's allow you to continue your description in terms of the kinds of love that we're talking about here.
Yes. The philios has to do with that reciprocal love, brotherly love, they call it, like Philadelphia is an example of that city of brotherly love. The other love is eros, which is more erotic and that kind of love that you find between the sexes and that kind of thing, etc. Romantic love. You know, people usually think of erotic, you know, eros. And then there's agape for the Greeks. And that agape love is the kind of love that we're talking about when we talk about nonviolence. It's the kind of love that goes beyond the call of duty, the love that means turning the other cheek. And that's a concept that many people find difficult to accept, turn the other cheek. But you see, what we mean when we say turn the other cheek, which is meant by that, is that when someone shows you their worst side, then nonviolence says that we must show them our better side. So it's not so much of turning your cheek when you're getting hit on one side, hit on the other, but nonviolence gives you the power to do that. And many people say, well, I can't stand anyone to hit me. Well, that's not true. Most of us, as children, were hit and we didn't hit back. And even when the football players, for example, that's their job, the quarterback. You know, everyone's after the quarterback. But if he's worried about being hit, or if he's going to hit back every time someone hits him, then he never will accomplish the goal. So nonviolence does not mean accepting suffering in a vacuum. You suffer for the cause because it's worthwhile. And you turn the other cheek because the battle that you're engaging in here is a battle of love and trying to win the other person over. And that's what reconciliation is. And that's how you treat your enemies and those who oppose you. Do you cut them off? Do you try to smash them? Do you try to destroy them? Or do you, like Martin Luther King, try to win them over?
Make them your friend.
Friend. Therefore, it strengthens your power if you can win your enemies over. But reconciliation means not simply, like conflict resolution, could simply mean separating the parties and the opponents so they won't fight each other. Reconciliation goes further. It says not only must we stop the feuding and fighting, but we must bring together those same forces that were opposed to each other. We must bring them together in a united way so that they can use the mutual power and mutual strength together and work towards a common problem and maybe helping someone else with their problems and their conflicts. So reconciliation carries with it another responsibility. So therefore, in the course of the conflict, you don't call your opponents names. Name calling is forbidden because you're looking at a potential ally and a potential friend. And if you're friendly, you can win friends. And that's what nonviolence is all about. It also means standing up for justice and what is right and suffering. So accepting suffering in order to win the cause. Because we believe that suffering for what is right is redemptive. And first of all, it helps you to save yourself, but also you offer then a moral challenge to your opponent to also change, you know, his or her behavior. So we can solve a lot of problems even in our families if we would take a different perspective. So the prescription for hate and negative conflict is love and nonviolence. And it also means that you never give up. There's no timetable. The people in Montgomery, Alabama walked for 381 days because they believed that their cause was just. So we'll say to those who practice nonviolence, it's not a tactic to see if it works, okay? It is a transformation of the people who practice nonviolence. And when you have changed, then there is no reversal. And so you never give up, no matter how much the person does or what the person's behavior might be. And because you continue to believe in that person, regardless of what they have done, they will eventually come to believe in themselves.
And so, Dr. Lafayette, in a real sense, when we talk about nonviolence and reconciliation and the civil rights movement and et cetera, perhaps we might get the impression over this last minute and 12 seconds that we have that we're dealing with racial issues, but you're really talking about human relations kinds of issues. That is, nonviolence, reconciliation can be practiced within the framework of a family as well as it can be practiced within the framework of races. Is that what we're saying in terms of reconciliation and nonviolence?
Yes, absolutely. And when we talk about races, in nonviolence, we're also talking about persons, human beings, and we have to keep that foremost in our minds, that we cannot simply characterize a person by race. There's a person, there's a human being behind that color, behind that skin. And Martin Luther King says we must not judge people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. So it's overcoming racism. It's overcoming racial identifications. We recognize that people are of different cultures and they're different races, and we must respect them.
Very good. And let me, over this last 10 seconds, thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information, Dr. Lafayette. And we'll be back with you, and of course we'll see you at our next show, and we encourage you to watch again next week. Thank you, and good morning.